The Extra Mile Effect. Why Going Further Creates Massive Success. Written by Ronnie Rowland. Published by Growth Literacy Lounge. Most people do what's expected of them. They meet requirements, complete their tasks, and move on. It's how we've been conditioned to do enough, but not necessarily more. But what if the key to real success wasn't in simply meeting expectations, but in exceeding them? What if the biggest opportunities weren't in doing the minimum, but in the small, extra efforts that most people overlook? The extra mile isn't about working harder for the sake of it. It's about being intentional, choosing to go a little further when it matters. In careers, it's the employee who anticipates problems before they happen. In business, it's the company that adds a personal touch to its service. In relationships, it's remembering the little details that make people feel valued. These extra efforts don't require extraordinary talent or luck, but they do require a shift in mindset. The truth is, the extra mile is often empty. Most people stop at good enough, believing that's all that's needed. But those who choose to go further, even just slightly, create an undeniable advantage. Over time, those small, consistent efforts compound into something significant. The people who rise to the top aren't necessarily the most gifted, they're the ones who consistently go beyond what's required. This book explores how the extra mile applies in every area of life. It's about small strategic choices that lead to big results. It's about standing out, not by doing everything, but by doing a little more where it counts. Success isn't about waiting for the right moment or hoping for a breakthrough. It's built in the moments when you decide to push just a little further. The extra mile is always there, waiting for someone to take it. The question is, will you? Chapter 1. The Extra Mile in Work Careers. Success in any career isn't just about talent, intelligence, or even experience. While these matter, they aren't what set people apart. The real separator is effort, specifically, the willingness to go further than what's expected. In every industry, the ones who rise aren't always the most gifted. They're the ones who consistently put in just a little more than their peers. The extra mile is the unspoken advantage that makes someone indispensable. Think about the average employee. They arrive on time, do what's required, and leave as soon as they can. There's nothing wrong with this, but there's also nothing remarkable about it. Then there's the person who stays 15 minutes later to ensure everything is perfect, who takes on tasks no one else wants, who volunteers for projects that stretch their skills. Over time, these small actions add up, and that person builds a reputation that makes them irreplaceable. Promotions, raises, and career opportunities rarely go to the person who only does what's necessary. Employers and leaders are drawn to those who prove they care about their work beyond the job description. It's easy to find people who do the minimum. It's rare to find those who take ownership. The extra mile is about taking responsibility for results, not just tasks. The ones who do this aren't just employees, they become leaders, even before they have the title. Take two people starting the same job at the same time. One does what's expected, meets deadlines, and follows instructions. The other does all of that but also seeks to understand the bigger picture, offers new ideas, and ensures the team succeeds as a whole. Fast forward a year, and only one of them will be in line for bigger responsibilities. It's not about working harder in a reckless way, it's about being intentional with effort and seeing beyond personal responsibilities. It's the small things that accumulate into massive results. Sending a thoughtful follow-up email after a meeting, asking a mentor one more question, reading one book a month in your field. These don't seem significant in the moment, but over time, they change the trajectory of a career. Most people don't fail because they lack knowledge or opportunity. They fail because they don't push themselves beyond the expected. Consider the entrepreneur who starts a business. Many people sell similar products or services, but the ones who dominate their industry understand that success lies in details others ignore. The business that follows up with customers, over-delivers on promises, and builds genuine relationships creates an unshakable advantage. The same applies to freelancers, executives, and creatives. The willingness to go beyond what's required is what turns effort into excellence. People often assume that going the extra mile requires extraordinary energy, but it's rarely about doing something drastic. It's about consistently making slightly better choices. It's the extra call made, the additional refinement in a presentation, the unexpected thank you note to a colleague. None of these take much time or effort, yet they create an impression that lasts. The extra mile is mostly empty because most people aren't willing to take it. That's what makes it so powerful. Anyone can stand out simply by deciding to do what others won't. Not because they're forced to, but because they understand the long-term benefits of being the person who cares just a little more. This doesn't mean saying yes to everything or overloading yourself with unnecessary work. It means strategically choosing to exceed expectations in ways that align with your long-term goals. Every career has turning points, moments when a single action changes the future. Sometimes it's a decision to take on an extra responsibility that leads to a promotion. Other times, it's a choice to build relationships when no immediate reward is visible. Those who understand the power of extra effort recognize these moments and seize them. There are two paths in any career: doing what's necessary or doing what creates impact. The difference between stagnation and success isn't luck or connections, it's the choice to consistently go further. Not once, not when it's easy, but always. Chapter 2. Going further in business and customer service. Success in business isn't just about having a great product or service. Many companies offer similar things, yet some dominate their market while others struggle. The difference is often found in the details, the willingness to go beyond what's expected. Customers don't just remember what they bought, they remember how they felt during the experience. Businesses that consistently go the extra mile create a level of loyalty and trust that competitors simply can't match. Imagine two coffee shops on the same street, selling the same quality coffee at the same price. One serves customers quickly and efficiently, meeting expectations. The other greets each customer by name, remembers their usual order, and occasionally offers a free pastry just to say thanks. The extra effort is small, but the impact is massive. Customers don't just return for the coffee, they return for the experience. In a world where most businesses focus only on transactions, the ones that focus on relationships win. The principle applies to every industry. An online store that responds to emails within minutes, resolves complaints with generosity, and adds unexpected value to each purchase will always outperform one that does the bare minimum. People don't just buy products, they buy feelings. They remember how a business made them feel, whether it was frustration or delight. Going the extra mile turns ordinary transactions into memorable experiences that keep customers coming back. One of the biggest mistakes businesses make is treating customers as numbers rather than people. The companies that succeed in the long run are those that genuinely care. This doesn't mean extravagant gestures, it means small, thoughtful actions that make customers feel valued. A handwritten thank you note, a follow-up message checking on their experience, or a simple "how can we make this better for you?" can turn a one-time buyer into a lifelong advocate. Employees who adopt this mindset also see extraordinary career growth. A salesperson who follows up days after a meeting, offering additional insights, builds stronger relationships than one who only contacts clients when they need something. A customer service representative who listens carefully and goes beyond scripted responses creates an experience that customers rave about. Business is about people, and those who go further in how they treat others always stand out. The best businesses don't just meet expectations, they exceed them in ways that feel effortless. It's not about gimmicks or overpromising, it's about delivering real, unexpected value. The restaurant that sends a small dessert on the house to a first-time guest, the software company that adds a personal touch to its customer support, or the freelancer who includes a bonus in their work without charging extra, all create experiences that people talk about. Most competitors won't do this. They focus on cutting costs, maximizing efficiency, and keeping interactions as brief as possible. But customers remember who treated them with respect, kindness, and effort. The extra mile isn't about spending more money or working longer hours, it's about being intentional with every interaction. It's about creating a reputation where people feel excited to do business with you, not just obligated. Word-of-mouth marketing is the most powerful form of promotion, and it's built by going beyond what's expected. When customers are delighted, they tell others. They leave glowing reviews, share their experiences, and become unpaid ambassadors for the brand. A single customer who feels valued can bring in dozens more through referrals. This kind of loyalty isn't bought with advertising, it's earned through consistent, extra-mile effort. The greatest advantage of this approach is that it doesn't require massive resources. It requires awareness, consistency, and a mindset of service. Any business can implement it, whether small or large. Any employee can practice it, whether in an entry-level role or as a CEO. The key is understanding that people crave positive experiences, and the businesses that provide them will always win. Going further in business doesn't mean overextending yourself or giving away too much. It means being thoughtful, proactive, and genuinely caring about the people you serve. It's about leaving a lasting impression that makes customers return not because they have to, but because they want to. Chapter 3. The extra mile in personal growth and learning. Success in any field isn't determined by talent alone. It's shaped by an individual's willingness to learn, improve, and adapt. Personal growth isn't about making huge leaps overnight, but about consistently taking small steps forward. The people who stand out aren't necessarily the smartest or most naturally gifted, they're the ones who keep pushing themselves to learn when others stop. Going the extra mile in personal development creates an advantage that compounds over time. Most people stop learning the moment they leave school. They rely on what they already know and expect their experience to be enough. But the world is constantly evolving, and those who fail to keep learning quickly fall behind. The best in any industry make growth a daily habit. They read, take courses, seek mentorship, and refine their skills even when they don't have to. They know that every small improvement gives them an edge over those who remain stagnant. A musician who practices for an extra 15 minutes each day, an athlete who studies game strategy beyond practice hours, or an entrepreneur who reads one additional book a month eventually outpaces their competition. The difference isn't in talent, it's in effort. A person who improves by just 1% each day becomes 37 times better over a year. Small efforts don't seem significant in the moment, but over time they create massive results. The biggest obstacle to growth is comfort. It's easier to stick with what feels familiar, to rely on past knowledge, and to assume that what worked yesterday will work tomorrow. But those who commit to lifelong learning understand that progress requires discomfort. They embrace challenges, take on new projects, and willingly expose themselves to situations where they might fail. They see mistakes not as setbacks but as stepping stones toward mastery. Most people only seek knowledge when they need it, when a job demands it, when a problem arises, or when circumstances force them to. But the ones who consistently go further learn before they have to. They don't wait until a skill is required, they develop it in advance. They don't wait for an opportunity to appear, they prepare for it long before it arrives. This proactive approach is what separates those who excel from those who remain average. Learning isn't just about acquiring information, it's about applying it. Many people consume endless content but never take action. They read books but don't implement the lessons, attend seminars but don't apply the strategies, and take courses without using the knowledge in real life. True learning happens when knowledge turns into action. The person who reads one book and applies its teachings gains more than the one who reads 10, but changes nothing. The most successful individuals also understand the power of mentorship. Learning from others who have already walked the path accelerates progress. Seeking advice, asking thoughtful questions, and surrounding oneself with people who challenge and inspire growth can dramatically shorten the learning curve. It's not about copying someone else's journey, but about learning from their experiences to avoid unnecessary mistakes. Going the extra mile in personal growth also means developing self-discipline. Growth isn't always exciting. Some days it feels tedious, and progress seems invisible. But those who commit to the process push through even when motivation fades. They understand that success isn't built on occasional bursts of effort but on consistent, disciplined action. They don't rely on inspiration, they rely on habits that keep them moving forward regardless of how they feel. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a day, but underestimate what they can accomplish in a year. They get discouraged when they don't see immediate results and give up before their efforts have time to compound. But those who stay consistent, even when progress is slow, eventually reach levels of success that seem impossible to others. The extra mile in learning isn't about cramming more into each day, it's about making steady, intentional improvements that add up over time. Personal growth is a choice. No one forces it. No one demands it. It's easy to ignore because the consequences of not growing aren't immediately visible. But over time, the gap between those who keep learning and those who stop becomes undeniable. The people who invest in themselves, who continuously refine their skills and expand their knowledge, always find themselves ahead. The extra mile in learning is open to everyone, but few take it. That's why those who do are always in demand. Chapter 4. The extra mile in relationships. Strong relationships aren't built on grand gestures or occasional acts of kindness. They are shaped by the small, consistent efforts that most people overlook. In friendships, romantic partnerships, and professional connections, going the extra mile isn't about doing something extraordinary, it's about doing what others won't. The difference between an average relationship and an exceptional one is often a handful of thoughtful actions repeated over time. Most people give the bare minimum in their relationships. They respond when spoken to, show up when necessary, and assume that's enough. But the people who create deep, lasting bonds go further. They listen intently instead of waiting for their turn to speak. They remember details that others forget. They check in not because they have to, but because they genuinely care. These small actions compound, creating trust and connection that stand the test of time. Consider two coworkers. One is polite and professional but keeps interactions transactional. The other takes time to ask about family, remembers important milestones, and offers support when needed. Over time, who builds the stronger network? The same principle applies to friendships. The friend who reaches out first, who makes time despite a busy schedule, who remembers birthdays without social media reminders is the one people cherish. Relationships don't thrive on convenience, they thrive on effort. In romantic relationships, the extra mile is often what keeps love strong. At the beginning, effort comes naturally. Over time, many people start doing just enough to maintain the relationship, rather than actively nurturing it. The partners who continue putting in effort, even when it's not required, are the ones who build unshakable bonds. A random text saying, "I appreciate you," a small act of kindness without occasion, or remembering a tiny detail from weeks ago all show love in ways words cannot. Most conflicts arise not from major betrayals but from accumulated neglect. People don't feel unimportant because of one forgotten event, they feel unimportant because they were forgotten repeatedly. The best relationships are not about perfection but about effort. A person who consistently goes the extra mile in understanding, patience, and kindness creates an environment where trust and appreciation flourish. The extra mile in relationships also means addressing problems instead of avoiding them. Many people let misunderstandings fester, assuming time will fix them. The people who strengthen relationships take the uncomfortable step of having the hard conversation. They listen without defensiveness, speak with clarity, and seek resolution rather than victory. They don't wait for the other person to make the first move, they take responsibility for the connection. People often believe they need more relationships, but what they really need is to invest more in the ones they already have. A handful of deep, well-nurtured relationships will always be more valuable than 100 shallow ones. The extra mile isn't about doing more for more people, it's about doing more for the right people. It's about making those who matter feel valued, understood, and supported. Going the extra mile also applies to self-awareness in relationships. People who build strong connections reflect on how they show up. They recognize when they've been distant, correct their mistakes, and grow from feedback. They don't just expect others to understand them, they make an effort to be understood. They don't assume people will always be there, they show appreciation before it's too late. Many relationships fail not because of a lack of love but because of a lack of effort. People assume that once a relationship is established, it will sustain itself. But the truth is, every strong bond is the result of ongoing, intentional action. The extra mile isn't exhausting when done with sincerity, it becomes second nature. It becomes a way of life that naturally attracts deeper, more fulfilling relationships. The world is full of people waiting to be cared for, waiting to be appreciated, waiting for someone to go the extra mile for them. The ones who take the initiative, who do what others overlook, who make people feel seen and valued, always find themselves surrounded by strong, meaningful relationships. Effort, when given freely and consistently, is never wasted. The extra mile in relationships isn't crowded because most people never take it. That's why those who do stand out. Chapter 5. Fitness, Health, and Pushing Limits. Success in health and fitness isn't about extreme diets or punishing workouts. It's about small, consistent efforts that most people ignore. The difference between those who achieve lasting results and those who struggle isn't genetics or luck, it's the willingness to go just a little further. The extra mile in fitness isn't about perfection. It's about showing up when it's inconvenient, doing one more rep when it's uncomfortable, and making slightly better choices every single day. Most people stop when they feel tired. They do the required sets, complete the planned workout, and call it a day. But progress happens just beyond that point. The person who pushes for one extra set, who adds a little more resistance, or who holds a plank for 5 more seconds builds resilience. These tiny efforts seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, they separate those who transform their bodies from those who stay stagnant. The same principle applies to nutrition. Many people eat well until they're tempted, then justify unhealthy choices because they deserve a break. The extra mile isn't about never indulging, it's about making slightly better choices when it matters. It's choosing water over soda, adding vegetables to a meal, or stopping when satisfied instead of stuffed. No single meal makes or breaks progress, but small choices add up, just like small workouts create strength. The people who succeed in fitness don't wait for motivation. They go even when they don't feel like it. They understand that discipline beats inspiration every time. The ones who stay consistent are not the ones who love every workout, they're the ones who do it anyway. They know that action creates momentum, and that the hardest part is simply starting. They don't let a bad day turn into a bad week. They reset and keep going. Most people look for shortcuts in health, searching for an easy way to get fit. But real progress is built on effort that compounds. It's not about pushing to exhaustion every time. It's about making small, sustainable improvements. The extra mile isn't just about doing more, it's about doing things smarter. It's about tracking progress, listening to the body, and focusing on long-term consistency rather than quick fixes. Mindset is just as important as movement. Many people start strong but give up the moment results slow down. The ones who succeed understand that plateaus are part of the process. They don't get discouraged when progress isn't immediate because they know persistence always wins. They embrace the long game, knowing that the real transformation isn't just physical, it's mental. The discipline built in fitness spills into every other area of life. Health isn't just about exercise and diet. Sleep, stress management, and mental well-being play a massive role in success. The extra mile in health means prioritizing rest, learning to manage emotions without using food, and setting boundaries that protect well-being. It means recognizing that fitness is a lifestyle, not a temporary project. It's about building habits that last a lifetime, instead of chasing quick results that fade. One of the biggest mistakes people make is focusing on intensity over consistency. A brutal workout once a week won't produce results, but a moderate workout 5 times a week will. The person who exercises regularly, even if it's just walking, will always be healthier than the one who goes all out and burns out. The extra mile isn't about extremes, it's about steady, intelligent effort applied over time. Those who push their limits in fitness develop a mindset that carries into everything else. The discipline to do one more set, the patience to wait for results, and the resilience to keep going despite setbacks become tools for success in all areas of life. The extra mile in fitness isn't just about looking better, it's about becoming stronger in every sense. The journey isn't easy, but that's exactly why it's worth taking. Chapter 6. The Psychology of Extra Effort. The mind is the biggest obstacle to going the extra mile. Most people don't stop because they are physically incapable, they stop because their mind tells them to. The brain is wired for efficiency, preferring to conserve energy and avoid unnecessary effort. This survival instinct was useful in the past, but in today's world, it often holds people back. Success belongs to those who override this default setting and push beyond what feels comfortable. The difference between those who settle and those who excel isn't talent or luck, it's mindset. Most people do what's required, then stop. They feel satisfied because they met expectations. But high achievers operate differently. They ask, what else can I do? They recognize that the real breakthroughs happen when they push just a little further. This shift in thinking is what creates extraordinary results. Comfort is the enemy of progress. The mind craves certainty and routine, but growth happens in discomfort. The extra mile often feels inconvenient, tiring, or unnecessary in the moment. That's why so few take it. But those who embrace discomfort as part of success find themselves in a league of their own. They understand that the resistance they feel is not a signal to stop, it's proof that they are improving. Mental endurance separates those who quit from those who succeed. The person who keeps running when their legs burn, the writer who finishes the page when they feel uninspired, the entrepreneur who makes one more call after multiple rejections. These people succeed because they train their minds to push past resistance. They develop a habit of persisting when others stop. This persistence compounds over time, turning small extra efforts into massive achievements. Many people think motivation is the key to success, but motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes, fluctuating with emotions. The most successful people don't rely on motivation, they rely on discipline. They understand that waiting to feel like it is a losing strategy. Instead, they commit to action regardless of mood. This mental toughness is what allows them to consistently go beyond expectations. The fear of failure keeps many people from pushing further. They avoid extra effort because they worry it won't pay off. But failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of the process. The ones who go the extra mile see failure differently. They treat it as feedback, a lesson, a stepping stone to improvement. Instead of fearing mistakes, they embrace them as necessary for growth. This mindset shift makes all the difference. The brain naturally seeks shortcuts, looking for the easiest path to results. But true success isn't found in shortcuts, it's found in repeated effort over time. The athlete who refines their technique for years, the musician who practices the same scale endlessly, the business owner who keeps improving their service, these people succeed because they commit to mastery. They understand that excellence is built on repetition and refinement, not quick fixes. One of the most powerful mental shifts is seeing extra effort as an opportunity, not a burden. Most people resist doing more because they view it as exhausting. But those who excel see it as a chance to stand out. They recognize that since most won't go further, those who do will always rise above the competition. Instead of dreading extra effort, they embrace it as their advantage. Developing this mindset takes practice. The good news is that mental toughness, like any skill, can be trained. Each time a person pushes a little further, whether in work, fitness, or learning, they strengthen their ability to handle discomfort. Over time, this becomes second nature. What once felt difficult becomes normal. The extra mile no longer feels like an effort, it becomes a habit. The psychology of extra effort is simple. Those who push beyond what's required develop an unshakable edge. They train their minds to keep going when others stop. They build resilience, discipline, and an ability to thrive in discomfort. This mental strength is what separates mediocrity from greatness. The extra mile isn't just about working harder, it's about thinking differently. Those who master this mindset don't just achieve success, they make it inevitable. Chapter 7. The Extra Mile in Leadership and Influence. Leadership isn't about titles, positions, or authority. It's about impact. The best leaders are not the ones who demand respect but the ones who earn it through their actions. They go beyond managing tasks and focus on inspiring people. They understand that leadership isn't about doing the minimum, it's about setting the standard, leading by example, and influencing others through consistent extra effort. The difference between an average leader and a great one is often a matter of small, intentional actions. Most leaders communicate when necessary, great leaders communicate proactively. Most leaders delegate work, great leaders develop people. Most leaders focus on short-term results, great leaders build long-term success. These differences may seem minor in isolation, but over time they create an undeniable impact. Influence is built by trust, and trust is built through consistency. People don't follow leaders because they have to, they follow because they believe in them. Leaders who go the extra mile listen when others ignore, recognize effort when others overlook, and support when others withdraw. They don't just give instructions, they provide clarity, direction, and encouragement. They make people feel valued, and in return, they earn loyalty and respect. Leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about showing up, making the effort, and setting the tone. When a leader arrives early, works harder, and takes responsibility, others follow. Leadership isn't about demanding extra effort from others, it's about demonstrating it first. A team will never exceed the standards set by its leader. If the leader does the bare minimum, so will everyone else. But when a leader consistently goes further, the team rises to that level. The extra mile in leadership also means making decisions that aren't always easy. The best leaders don't take shortcuts for short-term gain. They think ahead, prioritize integrity, and make sacrifices that others avoid. They take responsibility for failures instead of blaming others, and they give credit freely when things go right. These small but powerful choices define their legacy. The leaders who stand out are the ones who invest in their people. They don't just see employees as workers, they see them as individuals with goals, strengths, and challenges. They take time to mentor, guide, and develop others, even when it's not required. This effort builds a culture of growth, where people feel empowered to push beyond their limits. When people know their leader cares, they naturally give more. One of the most overlooked aspects of leadership is the ability to listen. Many leaders focus on being heard, but the great ones focus on understanding. They ask questions, value feedback, and make people feel seen. This simple effort strengthens relationships and fosters loyalty. People don't just follow leaders who talk, they follow those who listen. Leadership also extends beyond business. Parents lead by how they raise their children. Coaches lead by how they inspire their teams. Friends lead by how they support each other. Influence exists in every interaction, and those who take responsibility for their impact create stronger relationships, better environments, and lasting change. True leaders don't wait for a title to make an impact. They lead from where they are. They take initiative, find solutions, and elevate those around them. They understand that leadership isn't about being in charge, it's about taking care of those in their charge. They don't see extra effort as optional, they see it as the foundation of success. The extra mile in leadership isn't about working longer hours or taking on more than necessary. It's about doing what others won't, listening more, caring more, and leading with integrity. The best leaders don't just tell people what to do, they inspire them to do more than they thought possible. That's the kind of leadership that creates lasting influence. Chapter 8. Overcoming the obstacles to extra effort. Going the extra mile sounds simple, but in practice it comes with challenges. Most people don't struggle with knowing what to do, they struggle with doing it consistently. The biggest obstacles aren't external factors like time, resources, or talent. They are internal battles: fatigue, doubt, procrastination, and the temptation to settle for good enough. Success isn't just about effort, it's about overcoming resistance and pushing forward when it's easier to stop. One of the biggest challenges is burnout. Going the extra mile doesn't mean exhausting yourself or working endlessly without rest. It's about being strategic. Pushing further in the right moments creates success, but running on empty leads to diminishing returns. High achievers don't just work hard, they work smart. They know when to push and when to recharge. Rest isn't the enemy of success, it's part of the process. Without it, extra effort becomes unsustainable. Another obstacle is the fear of wasted effort. People hesitate to go beyond what's required because they wonder if it will even matter. The truth is, not every extra effort gets immediate recognition or reward. But over time, consistent extra effort builds reputation, skill, and resilience. The best don't succeed because they always see results right away. They succeed because they persist even when results are invisible. The compound effect of repeated effort is what creates breakthroughs. Procrastination is another barrier. Most people have moments where they plan to do more but never take action. They wait for the right time, more energy, or better conditions. But waiting leads to inaction. Those who go the extra mile don't wait until they feel ready, they start. Action creates momentum, and small efforts lead to big results. The best way to overcome procrastination is to begin, even in the smallest way. Once movement starts, resistance weakens. Perfectionism can also block progress. Many people hesitate to put in extra effort because they fear it won't be good enough. They spend too much time planning, refining, and overthinking, never feeling satisfied with their work. The reality is, nothing will ever be perfect. Those who excel understand that done is better than perfect. They put in extra effort not to achieve flawlessness, but to improve, learn, and grow. Progress matters more than perfection. Distractions are another enemy of extra effort. The modern world is full of endless interruptions, social media, notifications, and constant demands on attention. Those who consistently go the extra mile don't have more time than others, they have more focus. They set boundaries, eliminate distractions, and prioritize what truly matters. Energy is limited, and wasted attention on the unimportant prevents effort from going where it counts. One of the hardest obstacles is the lack of immediate reward. People expect results to match their effort instantly, but success doesn't work that way. Extra effort often feels unnoticed at first. The people who push forward understand that rewards come later. They trust the process, knowing that results eventually align with effort. The extra mile isn't about quick wins, it's about long-term excellence. Doubt is another challenge. Many people stop themselves from doing more because they question whether they're capable. They see others succeeding and assume they have some special advantage. But the truth is, the people who succeed aren't always the smartest or most talented. They're the ones who believe in their ability to improve. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build by taking action despite uncertainty. The key to overcoming obstacles is shifting perspective. Instead of seeing effort as exhausting, see it as an investment. Instead of fearing failure, see it as feedback. Instead of waiting for motivation, rely on discipline. Those who consistently push forward aren't free from challenges. They've just learned to work through them. Going the extra mile isn't easy, which is exactly why it's powerful. Most people won't do it. They'll stop when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or uncertain. But those who find a way past the obstacles separate themselves from the crowd. They don't let challenges define them, they define themselves by how they handle challenges. That's what makes extra effort the ultimate advantage. Chapter 9. The Extra Mile as a Life Philosophy. Going the extra mile isn't just a tactic for success, it's a mindset, a way of living that shapes everything. It's not about doing more in one area while neglecting others. It's about approaching every aspect of life with the mindset of exceeding expectations, adding value, and striving for excellence. When the extra mile becomes a habit, success is no longer a question of luck, but a natural outcome of consistent effort. Most people compartmentalize effort. They push themselves at work but neglect their health. They invest in their relationships but avoid personal growth. They go the extra mile in one area but settle for mediocrity in another. True success comes from applying this principle everywhere. When you consistently go further, whether in your career, health, relationships, or mindset, you build momentum that transforms your entire life. Excellence isn't a single achievement, it's a series of small choices repeated daily. Waking up earlier to read instead of scrolling social media. Taking the time to reflect rather than reacting impulsively. Pushing a little harder when exercising instead of stopping when it's comfortable. These minor choices define the difference between average results and extraordinary success. Over time, they create an identity, a person who doesn't settle, who always strives for more, who refuses to be ordinary. Living by the extra mile philosophy doesn't mean working endlessly. It means being intentional with effort. It means taking ownership of everything you do, refusing to be passive, and embracing challenges instead of avoiding them. It's not about burning out, it's about stepping up. It's about showing care, delivering more than expected, and taking pride in what you produce. It's about refusing to let laziness or mediocrity dictate your future. One of the biggest benefits of this mindset is the doors it opens. Opportunities naturally find people who operate with this level of excellence. The person who consistently gives their best attracts more responsibility, trust, and influence. The athlete who trains harder earns a stronger body and greater endurance. The entrepreneur who over-delivers builds a reputation that leads to more customers. Going the extra mile creates leverage, making success feel almost unfair to those who don't understand the power of effort. Challenges will always arise, but the extra mile mindset turns them into stepping stones. When difficulties come, most people complain, make excuses, or quit. Those who embrace this philosophy see obstacles as part of the journey. They adapt, adjust, and push forward regardless of circumstances. They don't wait for perfect conditions to take action, they make progress no matter what. This resilience makes them unstoppable. The beauty of this mindset is that it requires no special skills, background, or advantages. Anyone can adopt it. Anyone can choose to go further, to care more, to give more than expected. It's not about being born with talent or intelligence. It's about making the conscious decision to stand out by doing what most people won't. The extra mile is open to everyone, yet only a few take it. That's why those who do rise above the rest. Some people go through life wondering why success seems out of reach. They do what's required, yet nothing changes. But the real game changer isn't just meeting expectations, it's exceeding them. It's about creating a reputation of reliability, effort, and excellence. It's about making the extra mile a standard, not an exception. Those who commit to this philosophy don't just succeed, they inspire others to do the same. At the end of the day, the extra mile is a choice. A choice to push a little harder, to care a little more, to take pride in the details that others ignore. It's not just about success, it's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts success. Those who live this way never have to chase opportunity. Opportunity finds them. Chapter 10. Your shortcut to standing out. Most people believe success is complicated. They think it requires luck, connections, or a secret formula. But the truth is much simpler. Success belongs to those who do what others won't. In a world where most people stop at good enough, the extra mile becomes the ultimate shortcut to standing out. It's not about working endlessly or exhausting yourself, it's about consistently doing a little more, caring a little more, and putting in just enough extra effort to be unforgettable. The reason the extra mile works is that few people take it. Most stop at meeting expectations, never realizing how close they are to excellence. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is often just one extra step, one additional action that separates the average from the exceptional. The employee who stays a little later to solve a problem, the entrepreneur who follows up with every customer, the athlete who trains a little longer when no one is watching. These small efforts create big results over time. Standing out doesn't require perfection. It requires consistency. Most people have moments of extra effort, but they don't sustain them. They go the extra mile once, then slip back into mediocrity. The ones who rise are those who make it a habit. They don't just do more when it's convenient, they do more because that's who they are. They understand that long-term success isn't built on occasional bursts of motivation, but on relentless execution of small, extra efforts. The secret is that most extra-mile actions are simple. They don't require special skills, resources, or intelligence, just intention. Writing a handwritten thank you note instead of sending a quick text. Reading a book instead of watching another episode of a show. Asking one more insightful question instead of ending the conversation. These efforts seem minor, but they add up. Over time, they become the reason some people succeed while others wonder why they're stuck. The extra mile isn't just about doing more. It's about doing better. It's about taking pride in everything you do, even the small things. People who excel don't wait for the big moments to prove themselves. They treat every moment as an opportunity to show their commitment to excellence. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. Those who go further in the small details naturally rise when bigger opportunities appear. This philosophy applies to every part of life. Careers, relationships, health, personal growth. Each rewards those who give just a little more. The best employees don't just complete tasks, they contribute ideas. The best partners don't just show up, they go out of their way to make the other person feel valued. The healthiest people don't just exercise occasionally, they find small ways to improve their habits every day. These efforts compound, creating an undeniable advantage. There's no competition on the extra mile. That's why it works. The majority settle, making it easy for those who push further to stand out. The ones who choose effort over excuses, persistence over comfort, and action over hesitation always end up ahead. They don't wait for external motivation, they create it through disciplined action. They don't let obstacles stop them, they find a way around them. This mindset is what separates leaders from followers, winners from dreamers. The key to making this sustainable is to enjoy the process. If extra effort feels like punishment, it won't last. The people who master this approach don't resent the extra mile, they embrace it as their advantage. They see challenges as opportunities, setbacks as lessons, and effort as a reflection of their character. They don't view success as something they hope for. They see it as something they create through their choices every single day. The extra mile isn't crowded. It's quiet because most people never take it. But that's what makes it so powerful. If you want to stand out, stop looking for shortcuts and start looking for ways to go further. Small, consistent efforts will separate you from the masses. Over time, they will transform your career, relationships, health, and mindset. The extra mile is your greatest shortcut to success. The only question is, will you take it? Take care, and be well.